there are female fans of this stuff, but I think the thing that I think attracts a lot of women to these franchises is there's strong men. You know, I mean, look, the first Avengers movie may as well have been a Chippendales show. You know, because it's a trope that like all the male characters, all the male Marvel characters take their shirts off. All of them. They have to do it at some point. I did a video on my channel about it where we just cut all the scenes of shirtless male Marvel characters. It just happens every movie. It's like a checkbox thing that has to happen. And I think that appeals to women. I think women like strong men and men like strong male role models. So by stepping away from that, you're going to get the Marvels, which will be this is not a controversial take. It's going to be the worst box office for any Marvel movie ever.
I mean,
I predict.
I can't really see what the selling point is because none of the three actresses are box office draws particularly. Like you say, presumably there's not going to be any strong male characters in it because that's not going to be allowed. And I don't really know what the draw is apart from just the generic like, well, it's empowering for women to see strong women on screen. Like, I just don't think that's going to be enough to sell this one. And like you say, you know, I don't think this whole genre of movie making, I don't think it's inherently male. Like, I think women can absolutely appreciate it, but I think the key was just always balance in previous phases. You know, in phases 1, 2, even 3, you can have, you know, strong, empowered female characters if you want to like market to your female audience. You can also have strong male characters who are just as capable and just as good at what they do. One doesn't have to take away from the other. That was what made it work. Now the mentality seems to be very much, well, if we're going to elevate our female characters, we have to denigrate our male ones. They have to be brought down. And I don't understand why they feel like they have to do that, but man,
because they're incapable of raising the women up. That's the problem.
Well, I think it's partly that, like, maybe like the writing standards are not great, and perhaps they know that they're not great at writing characters, the people they've brought in now, and partly I think there's just this almost petty desire to like knock them down a peg or two. You know, well, yeah, you've had your day at the box office, men. It's time for you to know your place a little bit, and that's, again, it's not going to do any favors to anyone because you're alienating your own audience. Like, bit by bit, you're just going to piss them off, and more of them will just not come back. They'll just be like, fuck it, I'll just find my entertainment somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, two quick things. One, my colleague Alan Ing at Film Threat was at D23 and saw the trailer, a teaser trailer and scene from the Marvels.
Ooh,
okay.
Oh, that's juicy.
Exciting.
He's a big Disney fan, and he loves Marvel, like the comics and even some of the recent comics. And he said it's not for us, and he said it looks like a Disney Plus show. And the scene that they showed was just cringe. So he saw about 2 minutes of it, and he said it did not get a good reaction at D23, and no one was talking about it. And then he sent me a photo. Brie Larson was doing a live appearance on the floor at D23.
Oh yeah.
And I think some people picked up that because I shared it with like Ryan Cannell and some others, and there were like maybe 30 people in a space that would have fit several hundred. It was the most embarrassing.
Wow.
At a booth, like Brie Larson's coming or making announcements on the speaker at the convention center, and nobody showed up. Another thing, a trailer no one is talking about that ties into everything we're discussing, because this is the Critical Drinker National Women's Month special. That's the theme. That's the theme today. Did you see a trailer for a movie called Ghosted?
Oh,
did you see it yet? It's on Apple TV Plus, so no one will ever see it. But it stars Chris Evans and Ana de Armas in what begins as like, it looks like it's just some cheesy romantic comedy. Turns out that she is a CIA operative that is action star, you know, killing it. And then Chris Evans is sort of this screaming twit. So very entertaining.
It sounds like it, yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
it's I was just like, this is Captain America now. It was pathetic. It was so
As he says in the trailers, the guy was like, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm the boyfriend."
The thing is, I can imagine Chris Evans is perfectly willing to humiliate himself like that. He seems like that kind of guy. Bit like Chris Pine in the Dungeons and Dragons movie, where they straight up said that like we're out to emasculate the male leads in this one. And we actually burned through several actors who just weren't willing to do it because they thought it was dumb. And like we found Chris Pine and he was happy to do it. And I just thought, well,
He'd
For
take
real?
a paycheck.
good on you, Chris. Well done. Yeah.
I saw
but-
a clip from that film. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's like they're in like a graveyard and they got to talk to a scout or whatever. And I was actually like, that was kind of funny. I thought it was fine. Do you see it, or am I the only one here?
I haven't
think
seen
you-
it, but I was looking forward to it until the. I just thought it looked like a dumb action movie. My expectations are very low. Will it be fun for 2 hours? Maybe, but after everything that's come out in the press, it just now it's like because you can't not notice it now. You can't
Just
not
watch Mythica, dude. Just go watch Mythica instead.
This is the thing. Like they said the quiet part out loud. Like this is what we knew about a lot of movie making up until now, anyway. But like they never straight up admitted it. They would say like, well, it's about challenging the male leads, or it's about like elevating other characters or whatever, telling more complex stories. But to just straight up say, yeah, we wanted them to be weak and useless so we can make everyone else look better. It's like you're not supposed to admit that. That's not how you. How do you think that's going to play for your male audience? Do you think men are going to think, oh, cool, I can't wait to see, guys get humiliated on screen. That's really going to inspire me. Sign me up. Like, no, of course not. Like, it's such a dumb strategy. But yeah, Chris, when you mentioned, like, they did a panel there for the Marvels, like, and, they had Brie Larson going about. It kind of feels like she's almost like Marvel's dirty little secret, like that they've tried to keep her under wraps for the past few years, but they know, like they've got to that point where like, okay, this is the year that the Marvels is coming out, and so we have no choice but to wheel her out now and try and like make people like her, and this is kind of what's going to happen. Like they've ducked it as long as possible, and now here we are.
You say that they pushed it back again, obviously, to November. This movie, I swear to God, it'll be the funniest news ever if they're like November, yes, of 2024.
Think how many times this must have been reshot, like again and again. Like, oh no, it's still not working. Like, nope, this looks awful. Like even
they
like
want to
Disney
they want to go
Marvel
back on
standards.
it, but they can't.
I want to know what the legitimate budget of this movie is probably at right now.
I had some interesting conversations, and I don't know if Gary shared this with you. I won't name names, but like people who are very close to this stuff mentioned to me that the reported budget that you get, particularly for superhero films, is usually at least $50 million less than what they actually spent. So if you get something like the Marvels, I assume that's got to be at least a $200 million budget that they're going to report on. It's probably more like $250 million, if not closer to 3 with all the reshoots.
Yeah.
Now consider how much money that's going to have to make to try and just to break even. That is a Mount Everest of challenges right there.
I mean, it should cost a lot less because it's all women, right? Don't they get paid less? So there. Yeah.
I mean, like I say, none of them are big stars. Like Brie Larson's probably your best bet there, but like the other two, like yeah, they get paid like a million each probably and feel happy with that. But all the money is going to go in special effects, like everything with Marvel now. So you can't duck that kind of cost. That's just there, regardless.
Yeah, I just think that Brie Larson is incredibly unlikable. Unlikable, but in real life and as a character, because you imagine that role, if some other actress had taken that role on, there's a bunch of different ones that you could, replace, make nearly the same movie, and it could have worked. It had the potential to work, right? Think of maybe a Katie Sackhoff or something. I know we've talked, or maybe you guys talked about it on FNT. I talked about it with Gary. There was like Ronda Rousey the MMA fighters. People were doing like sort of fan casting of her in the costume, and she looked badass. I mean, it is questionable though with some people crossing over from sports into acting. But you know, Ronda Rousey had at least the physique that seemed to work. But Brie Larson, with those big feet, almost looks like she has a Ms. Marvel type of superpower. You know, Ms. Marvel can make her. Can Ms. Marvel make her feet large as well, or is it
It
just?
should have been Katie Sackhoff.
Yes, I thought. Yeah, Katie Sackhoff would have been just much. She's just more likable.
She's
think
likable.
probably-
She looks great. She's in superb physical condition. I saw
Well,
her video
I
when she
assume-
trained to do the Trojan tournaments and stuff.
I
She's busy in Mandalorian doing Mandalorian things. Okay.
Oh, we'll get to that. Well,
Doing a
don't
lot of
worry.
sitting. She's sitting on a throne a lot.
But yeah, I mean, like I guess they wanted a bigger name for something like that, and she was kind of on, or Star was on the rise at the time. Like, I know she seemed to like, based on the sort of clip that she was in from Ms. Marvel, like the little cameos she had, it's like she's about half the size she was in Captain Marvel. So I don't know what's happened to her, but like if that's the way she's gonna look in her costume now, like damn,
Veganism.
I don't know what. Well, I don't know. Like maybe she's on some crazy diet or something. But like, yeah, she just lost a ton of weight that she didn't really need to. But I have no idea what she's like in real life, and it would be a really sad thing if you ever met her and she was like super nice and charming and likable, like in the flesh, and you just think, oh shit, like spent all this time making fun of you. Like maybe it's just she comes across really badly in interviews or something. I guess you never quite know, but like I guess I lean towards nah, she's probably just like that. You know, if you're doing unscripted interviews, that's probably the real you coming out.
The
And even
actress
if you
who
get a
plays-
more, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, go right ahead, Cynic. Sorry about that.
I was just gonna say, like, even if you replaced her with a more likable actress, I think it would kind of be like for me with Henry Cavill as Superman. I didn't like any of the movies he was in, but I liked him as the role, and that's the best you'd get, because the two iterations of Captain Marvel that exist was like pre 2012 and post, and that was Miss Marvel, and then she became Captain Marvel, and she is just an inherently unlikable character in the comic books too. And like that's what they're into right now. That's what they're adapting, the all new, all different Marvel that took place, you know, like from I think it was like 2012 up to 2017. That's what they're adapting, and that was a terrible run of comic books and unlikable characters, and that's where Captain Marvel spawned from. So it's just never going to be good to adapt anyway.
Maybe worth mentioning, Katie Sackhoff would not be able to save Captain Marvel the movie.
No, I think then at least we would just be saying, well, you know, she did her best.
She might not
I
have.
think if
That's the
something like
problem. I
Well,
might
maybe-
be the only person here who's willing to say it, but Brie Larson can act. There's movies I've
Well,
seen of
yeah.
her where she acts. It's possible. It's just
She
that
acted
apparently
in
nobody
Room.
else did a do fuck all in the directorial position. Like, it sucks. Marvel movies really don't push actors to do fuck all. It's unbelievable they've had Michael Douglas for 3 movies. He's an actual actor. He does acting. Let him act.
Well, him and Michelle Pfeiffer are both really good actors. Like,
They're there
yeah,
for
but
the
it's
fact
just-
that they've forgotten why these people are special, like in any way, shape, or form. It's like, why do you think they have a name? It's like, have you seen their movies? Do you even know that they act?
Dude, I think one of the saddest moments was like that moment in Ant-Man 3 when Michael Douglas is having to sit in the cockpit of some like CGI starfighter thing with his hands like in like fake CGI goop that's meant to control the thing, and he's obviously just waving his arms around on the set and having no clue what he's supposed to be doing. And I just thought, damn, this is Michael Douglas. Like,
I'm sure he was thinking the same thing. I'm
What
Michael
are you-
fucking Douglas. What am I doing?
yeah, it can't be worth the paycheck. It just
You
can't.
mean the prolapse control system for that starship? Don't Google the word prolapse, by the way.
No. But it's just
Oh,
I can it's like seeing Raul Julia doing that Street Fighter movie, you know? It's just like a good actor in a ridiculously shit role and just you know, doing their best.
I
God
love
bless
Street
them.
Fighter.
But there's loads of memes you can get out of that. Like,
Well that at least is entertaining, you know.
yeah, like there's no fun with a lot of the because I say this as if they're wasting people like Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer. It's like, well, they're wasting everyone. There's
Yeah,
no actor that
Evangeline-
really gets
Paul
to shine
Rudd.
in these. Yeah,
Evangeline Lilly, they're both likable actors, you know, they're good.